Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eventually, Rigathi Gachagua was impeached by the August of Senate. I had told you that the people who are behind the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua were and could not fail at the Senate. Remember that what happened in Senate was a political process, and I can even tell you, even Rigathi Gachagua himself, while he sat in those proceedings, he already knew the fate of the outcome from those parliamentarians. And what Rigathi Gachagua has been intelligently doing was building a strong case to find his way in the judiciary. Remember that there is a time he attended a function in Nyeri and said that he has a trust in our judiciary, and that's where his last resort lies on. And yesterday he played a very safe game for him, and he missed the what we call fair listening, and he got sick, as it said. But the point is, he did not attend the cross examination and the representation to explain himself to the Senate. One Senator Kiomtata, when he stood to talk to the parliamentarians, he asked a lot of questions, legalities surrounding the impeachment they were proceeding, and he even told his colleagues in the Senate that they had not followed some things in the Constitution. Remember that there is a lot of questions all the way from public participation that was done on Friday and Saturday. There was an argument that a lot of people worship on those 2 days and they were not well represented. There is a lot of questions. A senator had said yesterday there is a question about how could the people who had signed his impeachment be the front liners of conducting a public participation. It's another question that will be answered by the courts. Another question that came out yesterday is that out of the allegations that Rigathi Gachagua is being accused, when the MP Mulusa and the MP of Kibwezi was being close-examined, it came out to the general public that a lot of those allegations were not proven and the evidence was not very strong against worthy to impeach Rigathi Gachagua. Remember that a lot of Kenyans raised issues. If you'd watched the interviews and the opinion yesterday, a lot of Kenyans felt that Rigathi Gachagua, as from that case, there wasn't sufficient proof to impeach a deputy president. I think it's something now that proceeds to the courts, and people will be having their last trust on the courts. But I can tell you that it wasn't going to, Senate was not going to have any chance to save Rigathi Gachagua, and even Rigathi Gachagua himself just came to that house to build a case. Now at least they have something, a very strong case to argue in the courts. Number one, Rigathi Gachagua never got a fair hearing. It's constitutional that once that prelim had begun, he ought to have had a fair hearing, either from himself, or if there could be other technicalities like getting sick, they could have at least extended even 1 day, because the deadline was on Saturday, to know how he is going to be represented in the Senate. Up to yesterday, he wasn't represented in any way, and I think court will consider the fact that there wasn't fair hearing on Rigathi Gachagua. A very strong case they built, and we'll be seeing how those legal team of Rigathi Gachagua is going to argue in the courts. Remember that in judiciary, it's not political. Judiciary must follow the process. But for the senators, if they decide to vote no, or if they decide to vote yes, it is their decision. You cannot question it. You cannot want an explanation thereafter. They have that mandate to decide whether to vote no or to vote yes. Yes. Another thing that came out clearly is that we saw that a lot of ODM senators supported his impeachment, and a lot of UDA senators also coming to join the group, apart from the senators from Mount Kenya region. Unlike the MPs from Mount Kenya region who had supported the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua, the senators from the Mount Kenya region yesterday did an honorable thing and stood with their son of the soil. So they supported, they opposed openly. A lot of senators, we saw the Senate of Kiambu coming strongly out to say that there wasn't no evidence to impeach Rigathi Gachagua, and he knew that Rigathi Gachagua was going to be impeached, but there wasn't evidence because the founder of that motion himself failed to prove to the Senate that there was enough or sufficient allegations to have Rigathi Gachagua impeached, citing especially the companies that the MP of Kibwezi continuously said that he had no issues with them in that impeachment motion. And we saw the Senator Kirinyaga and other senators, majority from the Mount Kenya, coming out to stand with Rigathi Gachagua. We will be seeing how things be unfolding. Remember that now this is a case that is going out of the Senate. Rigathi Gachagua has been impeached officially, and he doesn't bear office constitutionally once you are impeached by the Senate, unless he will be instituted back by the Supreme Court of Kenya. Otherwise, it is a thing we'll be following, and I will be updating you, ladies and gentlemen, what then happens after the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua. What will they do? But always remember to subscribe so that whenever we have such information, you are always notified.